Government has issued new work visa regulations that will make it easier for skilled foreigners to come and work in the country. Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi says this will involve people who are in IT, auditing, finance and any other job that allows them to work remotely. Now the catch, however, is that they should be earning more than 1 million rand a year and have 100 employees, with 60% of them being South Africans. Motsoaledi briefed the media on the amended immigration regulations that were gazetted on the eve of the Easter weekend.
Doors for remote worker visas to work in the country are opened from last Thursday. Applicants will be exempt from paying tax if employed for 6 months. There's also no need for them to submit a radiological report and a police clearance certificate.
First 6 months of that remote working visa, you won't pay tax to South Africa. But if you want to stay more than 6 months, then you start paying tax. Whether you are paying tax in America or not is none of our business. It's between you and them. But we were saying we are giving you a remote working visa to come to South Africa. You will work for 6 months. You won't need to pay tax. But if you want to stay more than that, we'll still allow you. But the tax kicks in. So it's not replacing any long-term or visitors visa, specifically for this type of people. And it can't be gotten by anybody, only people who can work remotely, because not every work can be done remotely anywhere in the world.
Motsoaledi also stressed that critical skills won't be replaced as reported in the media.
If it's critical skills, you need only 2 things. Does this profession appear on the gazetted list? 1. 2, is there a letter of employment from an employer? That's all you need. That's why you could finish those states within a short space of time. But you may find that they go to the press, Hillary, and say there is a delay because they are speaking about the spouse, not themselves.
The minister says there's no backlog on critical skills in the country. He has indicated that the new regulations also include the introduction of the Trusted Employer Scheme, which is going to enable qualifying companies to finalize visas in 20 days as compared to 8 weeks previously. 70 of the 108 companies which applied have been successful and are currently part of the scheme. And with fake qualifications on the rise, the department has put the onus on the employer to make sure that all checks and balances are in place in terms of verifying qualifications. Mulimo Onemoto, SABC News, Pretoria.
Right, let's get some reaction now on the newly gazetted amendments to the work visa requirements. We're joined by CEO of the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, Zinhle Tyikwe. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. What's your reaction to the new adjustments on the visa regulations?
Good evening to you and your listeners in Paul. I think for us, it's really a great movement because it's coming from a really challenging time that we have had some of our members experiencing with regards to the backlog of the employment visa and business visas. So the movement to ease some of the requirements is a good movement from government because it is aligned to Operation Phakisa, where the president has been indicating to say it's important that we liberalize the visa regime system to make it easier and efficient for companies to employ and attract skills into the country.
Yeah, because you speak about easing requirements. We know that the rules really just simplify attracting foreign skills. How beneficial will that be insofar as South Africa's economy, perhaps?
From an economy perspective, it is beneficial because we are operating in a global world. And it's been a big challenge for my members because what happens, especially for multinationals, what happens, they are able to move their skills. Some of South Africans move into international countries and work as experts in other countries, and that enables them then to bring experts into the country. And the rules has always been, like the minister has said, that there needs to be a skills transfer. The Department of Labour had always had contracts in place with companies where they have to indicate what skills, who are the individuals going to be beneficiaries for the skills transfer and what skills are going to be getting, and they monitor that on a daily basis as they are reviewing and renewing the visas. So it is going to be beneficial and it's going to enable us, as well as from a country perspective, to attract skills, to attract investment for employment purposes, and to upskill our people in South Africa with skills that we do not have from a critical perspective.
What has been the impact of some of these delays before this announcement? How has it affected business?
I mean, the experience that we had in 2022 was really, really dire, because what had happened at the time, there were a change in terms of the visa issuing, where it all needed to come into South Africa, which means then there was a backlog because the commissions in other countries were not allowed to issue visas. So that created a huge backlog where companies and a number of our multinationals, CEOs were not being able to renew their visas in the country, and they were required to go back to their country of origin, and even the requirement for police clearance for each and every country that you have ever worked in. So that created a really huge burden for companies and individuals to ask for police clearance. If, for instance, in the last 5 years you have worked in 10 countries, you needed to go to each of those 10 countries to get police clearance, which just created a burden and ensured that businesses were not able to bring foreigners here in the country with critical skills so that they can be able to do some critical work and create employment and create a benefit for the country from a tax perspective and employment.
Yeah, and I also suppose that while this is a welcomed move, it will require some level of coordination between the different departments for an easier, process to allow for it to fully be beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this Department of employment is really key on that, because the companies, especially those that have experts, they have to put in plans in place and identify skills that they're going to be employing as foreign nationals. They need to have that in place. Department of Home Affairs then will be issuing the visas, and also they need that type of information. So for us, it's important that there is integration between these departments. And Minister today mentioned the Department of Technology and Innovation. All those departments are key in terms of being integrated, so that you as a company don't have to go into each and every department submitting the same information and just waiting for the same process to be done. Whereas if there's an integrated process, it will be easy for companies to get the visas as soon as possible.
Very well. Let's perhaps leave it there for now, bringing you that reaction on the newly gazetted amendments to work visa requirements. CEO of Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, Zinhle Tyikwe, giving us that reaction, saying that this is indeed a welcomed move.